왜 그래? 네가 좋아하는 곡이요. 불어.
아이고, 야, 애들도 아니고 뭐 하는 짓거리인지 모르겠어, 진짜.
누가?
어이, 씨발.
야, 잠깐 써, 임마! 사람 써, 임마! 이 새끼 근데 이거 그냥 갈겨. 갈겨. 아이.
This is Getting Past the Subtitles. I'm Sean Peel.
This is DK Lee.
And we are bringing you just the last bit of zombie movies this time around.
Yes.
It's a short list, four movies.
Just 4.
Although we've been doing this for a few weeks. It feels like we made a short list, yet we're still like recording as many weeks.
Yeah, like I had a feeling this is gonna be like this. Like it's gonna kind of feel draggy.
Right.
Because it's all zombie movies.
Mm.
So we made a short list and I guess it kind of worked out.
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, if we had 2 more, it would be like,
Yeah.
oh my god. But an interesting series this was.
Yeah.
I feel like my expectation to what we've had has not matched. So this has been like just a very kind of curveball series for me.
But I do think that we did explore very kind of new types of zombie movies.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Yeah.
in that regard, I think it was quite successful because, you know, we watched so many, you know, zombie movies that are
Right.
so typical that like trying to find something a little bit different is kind of hard.
Right.
But especially the one that we watched today,
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like it was very refreshing to watch. Especially after the other ones that we watched. Watching this one,
Right.
I was very happy to watch this one.
They've all been wildly different
Yeah.
compared to one another. I mean, for both like good and bad, you
Mhm.
know? But the one thing is that they have all been different from like not your average like zombie flick, you could
For
say.
sure.
So I think in that sense of like, you know, doing this podcast and like talking about Asian films and just kind of like broadening out our taste and like discovering things new, this is like the epitome of that. Of like, I haven't seen any kind of zombie films like this prior to watching it. So.
Yeah, me too, actually. Yeah.
So this last one, Odd Family Zombie on Sale. On my notes,
Yes.
I put Odd Zombie Family.
Odd zombie family.
Odd Zombie Family.
They are all kind of zombies.
Yeah, eventually. Just a little quick thing. So directed by Lee Min-Jae. Came out in 2019, last year.
Yep.
And this is actually his debut. This is his first thing. Apparently, so before this, he was an editor. And then, but his wife is a screenwriter. So they had been developing the script for like 10 years or something, I heard.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he just finally made it.
Do you know, I feel like the 10 years
That's a
Kind
long
of
time, bro.
paid off.
Yeah.
The fact that they kind of like let it marinate for that long,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like just watching the movie, it felt a lot more polished than
Right.
any of the ones that we watched so far.
I think that's a key word, polish.
Yeah.
For sure. It's definitely felt
Complete. Like it felt like an
Yeah.
actual story that like
right.
they really thought about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was never a point where I was like, okay, it's too long or like too draggy or like it's
Sure.
just going on like or what's the point of this or what's the point of that? They
Mhm.
never felt like that. Every moment kind of like kept me kind of wondering, okay, so what might happen next?
Right.
Or like
right.
what's going on here? You know, like
Mhm.
there was a sense of intrigue for the audience, for the viewer, that really made me feel like watching it like paid off.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It felt very like this is kind of what we talk about when like the script is tight or like the
Yeah.
story is tight because everything feels intentional.
Yeah.
You know, like each scene was like everything was just down to like a T. Like scenes flowed, like the story
Yeah.
flowed, and everything seemed very decisive.
Yeah.
And it just had an identity to it. There you go. Like it
Yep.
really knew what the movie was.
Exactly.
Just like balancing like many different genres within this movie. Like it's mostly like kind of like slapstick comedy, but there's so many like tad elements of, you know, just like comedy, rom-com,
like all of these mixtures.
right, and like, you know, those zombie
And just the typical zombie tropes are in
exactly,
there,
yeah.
and they play with that. And I just love how they kind of come together with all those things
Right,
and make their
right.
own kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I think too, in the fact of like the setting of the movie, like the location feels like singular in a way.
Yeah.
And it's just in this countryside
Right,
place.
yeah, rural countryside.
Yeah, and so
small
that's an
town.
interesting take too of like the zombie genre as well. It's not this major city with like huge populations. It's just like this tight family with like a couple people here and there. You know?
Right.
I mean, by the end, it like really expands with
Yeah.
people, but for the most part, like that just plays to the story and the scenes.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I do think this was, I agree with you, the most complete feeling zombie movie.
Mhm.
I think like second to best to like one cut
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm trying to think. None of us like really picked this one. We kind of like picked this together.
Well, I wanted to watch this one because
Gotcha.
I saw it. I saw it as part of the. I think it was. I forget. I think it was a New York Film Festival.
Okay.
Or one of those Asian film festival, and I was like, oh, it looks pretty interesting.
Mhm.
And I like the male actor.
That guy's good.
Yeah.
Which one? The younger brother?
Yeah, the younger brother.
He's good.
Yeah,
I
I
him a
like
lot.
him as an actor. So I was like, oh, I want to watch this one.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's good at comedy.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's good at like almost anything. Like I don't think I've ever seen him in like a nitty gritty like drama or like suspenseful thriller kind of film.
No, really.
Not yet, anyway. But like when it comes to everything else,
No, he's good
like,
at that
really
too.
good.
Actually, yeah. But he's very good at like funny comedic acting too.
Mm, yeah,
It's interesting.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But the whole cast too is like really,
It was great. Yeah.
the chemistry is like on point.
Yeah.
Like that family.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, I had like, again, when it comes to Asian movies, I have trouble like clicking like who is related to who in the
No,
beginning, you know?
right.
And I didn't know like I knew it was a family, but I didn't know how the family was related.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know the youngest daughter was even like a sister to all those.
Right. You
other
thought
guys.
she was like granddaughter or something.
Or
right?
something like that, yeah. Or like a cousin, like, cause like I knew that she didn't meet her mom or like a parent, so it was like, is she kind of like adoptee or is she just kind of an estranged child
Yeah,
thing?
the mother died early.
Right, because of her birth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like a late birth, so she's
Right.
like the youngest.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very young. Because he's the father is basically like a grandpa, right? He's like old.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then him too. I was like, who the heck is that guy? Like, what is the relationship between these
Yeah.
people? And I didn't know like the wife. I thought that she was another sister for a
No,
minute.
she's just
but she's the
the-
wife too.
yeah.
Yeah, the sister-in-law.
sister-in-law. Yeah.
That's having the baby.
Mhm.
So yeah, so pretty much like all the kids are grown. And then
Basically, except
then
for
there's still
the youngest one. She's still a teenager.
teenager, but in the sense of like no one's a kid.
I guess.
No
you
one's
know.
a child.
Well, some people, even if they're older,
None of them were
numbers don't
like-
matter.
I didn't say anything were mature, all right? Because that is not
Sometimes,
the word. I would not associate them with that family.
yeah.
Even the wife, in a sense, was just dark,
Mhm.
just straight. Who's your favorite of the family?
I really liked the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, she was very like, I don't know. I think she had a very good chemistry with the zombie.
No kidding.
Yeah. The zombie. Yeah, and also the sister-in-law. I like the
I did
sister-in-law
like
too.
too. Yeah.
I just like her attitude.
She's
towards
just like a
everything.
fresh take on the whole family.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know, where like the two brothers are actually
Stupid.
pretty alike. Like they're different, but they're widely
Yeah.
alike. And then the sister's like really the mom,
Yeah.
like or the wife is really kind of like
the mom of the family. Yeah.
right. Interesting dynamic.
Mm.
And then like John B.
Yeah.
Just oh man, the fact that like just John B. It's like literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the first things getting into the movie is after watching Peninsula, they started the movie with Korean commentators,
No. Yeah.
like the news thing. I go, this is how you do it. Is this so hard to do? Like, this is just feels good. It feels appropriate.
Word.
We don't need the whitest people to be newscasters.
I don't know why, but every time I watch a Korean movie and there's like American actors
Yeah.
or whatever nationality they are, they just act like they're acting. It's weird. Like it
Like
doesn't feel natural at all.
I feel like they pick up tourists off the street. They're
Yeah,
like, "Can
it
you
might
do
be
this?"
this. It might be the writing,
I don't know.
but I just feel I don't know. It might just be the acting. I don't know, but it just.
They just put
So-
them in like the flattest.
But
things
I
to
feel
do
like
that.
even I watched Operation Chromite that has Liam Neeson in it,
really
and his acting there wasn't that great either. So
some kind of trend.
I think well for that movie I definitely think it's the script because
Okay.
it's like a war movie. He comes out for like 5 minutes, not even, but like it's just like it feels very like tropey. The things
Sure.
that they say just kind of sound very
Like one-liners,
like
there's-
military dialogue stuff, But anyways,
I don't know. I mean, they have like English people always playing the same kind of characters
yeah.
too. That is whatever. But it's your turn, bro. Walk us down the aisle. What is this? movie
Down
about?
the aisle. Are we getting married to this? So the story starts with some kind of weird experiment that happens,
Sure.
and there's this dude that comes out of some not even a grave, some kind of like waste
I guess
basket thing.
I thought it was like
hole.
a sewer.
Yeah, sewer
right?
hole. And he comes out and he like wanders around into some town,
Mm.
and then he's like chilling there. And like he's like wandering around, and then he and it's like a rural town, and there's like old people mostly, and like there's not a lot of people there and stuff like that, and so he's going around, and then he finds this like old people hanging around area.
Sure.
And then the father-in-law, the father,
Mm.
he goes to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And then he like sees the zombie, and he's like, "What are you doing in here?" Like, and
You
he gets
pervert.
mad at him, and he's like tries to get him out, but then like, he bites him in the head,
Yeah.
and then so like he starts running away. The zombie, he's like the zombie isn't really like a zombie per se, like the kind of zombie that you think about, but he's more like a like
A dumb zombie.
dumb zombie that doesn't know where to go, and like he's kind of like
He's like an infantile zombie.
Yeah.
Like if a zombie like was born into the world and was discovering it.
trying
That
to
would be-
understand how to be a zombie. That's kind of who he is. And so like he's like wandering around again, and like he's getting like chased by dogs and stuff, and like he sees the girl, right?
Yeah.
And then he starts chasing the girl,
Mm.
and then while he's chasing the girl, he gets hit by a truck,
Right.
and then because of that, the truck happens to be the father's son,
Yeah.
the oldest son.
brother. Mm.
And so he gets scared because he gets hit by the truck, and he's like, "Oh, what?" He thinks he's a human being, so he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" But then the zombie just walks up again, and he just like goes on his merry way, and stuff happens, and like it's really kind of hard to fully explain because I just feel like it's like going on and on and on. Like I'm like
Right.
telling all these little small plot points, but basically what happens is they bring zombie because they're scared that something's gonna happen. They bring him into they run a gas station, and they bring him to the what do you call it, the
guess like a-
workshop,
I guess it's
the
like a
body shop kind of place for the
Yeah.
cars, and he like takes him there, and like they try to kind of like figure out what to do with this zombie.
Mhm.
And then basically what they figure out is that the zombie has powers. And this power is the ability to make people young if you get bitten by the zombie.
Right.
And you get more younger, or like you feel more energy, and
Right.
and you're able to kind of this place is full of old people. And once the father figures this out, because he got bitten first and he feels good,
Yeah.
like the whole town figures out that this guy has energy, and like this father isn't able to keep his mouth shut. So
Yeah.
basically the whole town figures this out, and he asks,
Well, he gets bribed.
well, they figure it out because he's like energetic, and he's like,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, like how did you get so energetic? Like, can you please tell me?"
Well,
Can you tell me?
It cures his prostate. 'Cause
Yeah.
He was like peeing.
Yeah. And he like is able to pee for like 5 minutes.
Did you
Apparently that's something.
Did you notice the rainbow?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so basically, the people all start coming because
Mm.
they want to be a part of this. So they start paying him, and then they start making it into like a business.
Yeah.
So like they have this whole line, and like they have this little booth where like the people put their hand in, and then the zombie bites them,
Right.
and then the whole town becomes super energetic and super strong and all of that. And then sooner or later they realize that has some bad side effects. Because like at first the younger brother figures out, oh, like, you know, this is zombie stuff. Like he's a zombie. Like people, if you get infected, if you get bitten, you're gonna turn into a zombie.
Yeah.
And that was what they thought. But then because of what happened to the father, they're like,
Right.
man, maybe this is not what we thought after all.
Maybe it's the opposite.
But lo and behold, you're wrong.
Right.
And the old younger brother was right. And they actually do turn into zombies. And then
Mhm.
it's just basically a story about what happens after that. And so if you didn't watch it yet, just watch it. It's a great movie.
And then it turns into like a real zombie.
A real zombie movie.
After that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that third act was like basically Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I was like, it just feels like Shaun of the
Right.
Dead. Like they get stuck in that house, and then the whole like pretty much the rest of the movie takes place in that gas station in their house because they
Yep.
live apparently on the same thing.
Yep.
Like the second floor. Is
Second
the house or
floor,
whatever.
yeah.
And then like the zombies come to the gas station, and then they're trying to like, we have to take the truck and drive away. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then like and then like the ending was like the brother almost dies, but then he survives. But then they're driving, and then he turns into a zombie. And then the dad literally comes from nowhere.
From like a tunnel.
Yeah, the highway tunnel.
I'm back.
From Hawaii. Yeah.
From Hawaii. Oh yeah, I forgot. He wanted money because he wanted to go to Hawaii. That's why he took the bribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he eventually, like pretty early on, he gets, like after they run this successful business, the father steals the money from his children because
Yeah.
they're saving up to like, I guess initially they want to start up the gas station
Again,
or
yeah.
move away or whatever.
Which they kind of do
Yeah.
because they made the money.
They made the money back.
Yeah, but
But the father steals the money and goes to Hawaii.
yeah.
And then the kids are like, well, dang, darn.
Yeah.
And then that's the motivation for them to like really do the thing because the rest of the town wants to be eaten by the zombie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of nuances and a lot of like subplots in the movie.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I like the most is that there's so much like little things that really kind of fit in the movie.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of particulars that kind of.
And it didn't feel like it was wasted.
Right.
Or like it didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was just there
For no reason.
for no reason. Yeah.
Mhm.
It all had purpose. It all interweaved together. Like all the characters felt like they knew each other. Like this little town felt really like a little town.
100%.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there are some things that I definitely was not a fan of.
Mm.
Like, I mean, for me, I think the third act was probably the slowest.
Mm.
I didn't like it. Because, like, well, one, it all takes place in a house, which is like, okay. But some things dragged. Like, they're like outside. Like, the brothers in like the bus station, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the other families, the youngest brother.
Yeah.
And then the home and gas station is being overrun by zombies.
Yeah.
And then they hide in the house. And then the younger brother's like, I'm going to save them. And then drives a truck over there. And then his ingenious idea is to take fireworks and shoot at all the zombies
In the gas station.
in the gas station. And his brother's like, you idiot.
Yeah.
And then, like, it really doesn't even work. But then they, like, remember that zombies are, like, sensitive to light and sound. So they're attracted by the fireworks.
Yeah. And all those zombies come even more.
Right, so they attract like the entire town and city of zombies over to the gas station. But like that, and then it goes to the house, and then they like go to the shed, and then they go back to the truck to find the keys. And like this is like 20 minutes of like long, like, you know.
But at that point, I'm just like, okay, this is the zombie movie part.
Right though,
You know
but
what I
like
mean?
but like at that point you're like
Like,
this
that's
is
the trope,
finally-
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, I'll give it a pass. It's the zombie movie that everyone's looking for there.
Yeah, I think I like probably didn't like the most was the random rave party sequence.
Oh yeah. the zombie getting electrocuted.
Yeah, he's like on
You didn't like
top.
that?
It was just like it came out of nowhere, and I was like,
That's the point.
I was like, what is happening?
That's the point.
It's like
The zombies are having the rave.
and the zombie like throws his hand
Yeah.
up. He's being electric. He's like the DJ.
Yeah.
And they're like attracted by the neon sign
Yeah.
above. It's like, what is happening? Like literally,
That's the
what
point.
is happening?
You gotta embrace the moment.
But it was like, I think for me, it was because it literally was like the second slapstick back to back from like the one previously.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's too much slapstick going on for me at one moment, you know? And then they're trying to like interweave it with plot, like, we got to go get the key. Like, while they're
Right.
distracted, let's get the
Yeah.
key. And then that doesn't matter because he doesn't even make it inside afterward. The zombies find him anyway.
Yeah.
And it was just like, my brain was scattered at that point.
Yeah.
But I think like maybe that is the only kind of like problem that it like I think that's where I kind of fell off a little bit
Yeah.
the most. But everything
I
else,
do feel like the pacing. I really love the pacing of the
Yeah.
movie. Like when the movie first started and like how it travels from plot to plot point.
Mm.
I really enjoyed the fact that like I didn't know where the movie was heading. Like in the beginning when the first zombie comes out
right.
and he's like wandering around and like he's doing all these like weird things. I'm like what's the point of this? I don't
What
like
kind of movie
is he gonna turn into part of the family? Like I had
Right.
no clue what the movie was gonna be about, right?
Right.
And so like having all these questions in mind and watching it really made me feel engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started to slowly realize, oh, like the zombie has this kind of like, you know,
Right.
ability or power to like make people younger again. I'm like, wow, that's actually a pretty interesting take on like, you know,
Yeah,
zombies and like stuff like that. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Right.
And like, you know, like it kind of led you in this like new but
Mhm.
familiar territory,
100%.
which I really enjoyed and liked about this film.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like something so out there, but it didn't feel like something that was totally like, you know,
Like tropey.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I think that's the kind of thing that we always look for in, you know, because we always say like
Right.
zombie movies are all the same, right?
Right,
And
right.
this movie actually felt very different, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a weird balance because like I could distinctively like point out like the different movies that are in this movie. Is like, oh, Shaun of the Dead is like the third act,
Yeah.
but then there's like this other zombie movie. I forgot what the name of it was, but it's like this girl falls in love with the zombie.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
She makes him back into like
The
a
cold
human.
zombie, right?
Yeah,
I
something-
forget.
I forgot what it was called.
Like I zombie? No.
I don't even
Love zombie.
Love
something like
zombie.
that. I know what you're talking about. The
Yeah.
movie, yeah.
But like that's like the vibe I get like the first half of the film.
Well, especially with the girl and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
the relationship with the zombie.
But then, like you said, it kind of throws us like this neat trick of, oh, he has this opposite effect of biting people, and people are like being healed rather
Yeah.
than turning into zombies.
Or like being, you know, energetic and they having
exactly.
And it kind of makes sense because like zombies have, you know, like live
Yeah.
forever.
right,
And
right,
it kind of makes sense. Oh, maybe they can have this side effect, right?
right.
And so it's not like so totally out there that it's just like, oh, that's so stupid, but it makes sense if you kind of like think about it in that way, right?
right.
And so I think that's the genius part, right? Like that's the cool part because
It plays with your logic.
yeah, it plays with the logic that kind of makes sense, you know, in that
Right.
world. And those are the things that I really like about this movie,
Mhm.
where it gives you ground to think about things in a way that makes sense within the rules of the movie,
Exactly. Yeah.
but it doesn't go out so beyond it that it just kind of feels like this is stupid.
Yeah. And it's like funny too. The movie is very tonally consistent.
Yeah.
As like I said before, it kind of weaves in and out of genre, but the tone throughout the movie is really similar. I
Right.
mean, it really does.
I mean, it's
stay
basically
consistent.
a comedy.
It's basically like a slapstick.
And
comedy.
even when there are moments of like kind of seriousness, it's more
Still.
like it's more like playing off that
right, yeah,
seriousness and
Mhm.
kind of like, you know,
exactly.
like especially that moment where he's like, "I'll throw the keys, I'm gonna die."
Yeah, yeah.
That's like totally a, you know,
R-
the
zombie-
tropey
yeah.
zombie trope thing
So
that
when he
they
comes
play
back,
off of.
it's like I'm not shocked. At
Yeah,
all.
you're
I'm
like, "Oh yeah,
he's
of course he
back."
comes back."
It's like, oh my god, I thought I was gonna die for real.
Yeah, but then he actually got bit. And
But yeah.
I actually like that part too
did
because
too.
I love the fact that like every single time you feel like it's a trope or like feel like it's stupid. They also turn that around. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And then at the end too, like the father comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, "What the hell is this? Like, how are they gonna end it now?"
It was like back to back, like twist.
And that I
like,
love that twist too because
Right.
it kind of makes sense too.
it's like, yeah, of course.
of course, he's
Yeah.
the immune guy, right?
But that's why it's like I'm so like that's why the way that it established its tone is so important. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like you don't take everything serious off the bat. Like when you see the zombie, you're like, oh, this is not a chase you around
Not
animal
that kind
instinct
of
zombie. You know, he's just like I said, kind of this infant
Yeah.
finding his way how to be a zombie kind
Yeah.
of zombie, and then the slapstick comedy within that. So you never take the movie seriously. You kind of go with it.
Yeah.
So all these like stupid kind of crazy comedic elements and things that really just come out of the blue,
Yeah.
it works for the film.
Especially, and the biggest problem that I thought this movie would have had
Mm.
was when the zombie starts acting like a human and protecting
Okay.
the girl.
Right.
And at that moment, I was like, why is this zombie acting like a human all of a sudden?
Uh-huh.
But if you think about the ending, it
Right.
makes total sense because he's the first one that bit the father, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting slowly cured. And that's why he kind of starts becoming a human.
Yeah, 'cause
And
he's
those
getting
things,
cured.
yeah, exactly. He's getting cured and he's become more human, which is why he's able to have the ability to think and defend the family. And
Right.
stuff like that just felt so like thought out
Exactly.
that it just made the movie so much more better in that sense. You know what I mean? Because like if that ending wasn't the ending and if that happened, I would have been like, that's so stupid.
Right.
Like, is it just because like she kind of like liked the dude and they kind of, whatever, like
Yeah.
like he starts becoming more human. I didn't like that. I wouldn't have liked that.
Sure.
But because of the ending and because of the fact that he bit the father and the father was the cure for that, it makes everything so like logically consistent that I love it.
It's hilarious because it like as out like as what's the word I'm looking for, out there as the movie is, and just like I said, these crazy elements to it, the movie manages to like cover its ass.
It covers every base.
Really, yeah.
Even
There's
the
no
moment.
plot hole.
Yeah.
As like crazy as you would think, there is
Yeah.
no like you can't poke a hole in it because
Yeah.
it's like, no, I answered that question.
Exactly.
No, this is still logically consistent within the story.
And I think that makes a good story,
Yeah,
like where
it
it's able to understand fundamentally how a person would think about a certain thing and kind of, provide,
Right.
provide some meat to it.
It's good because you're kind of left at ease with not having to worry about that part.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, oh, there's a big plot hole here, or
Yeah.
or have like a huge question, or like, why did this happen? Like, is this gonna get resolved or something? Because the movie takes care of that already.
Right.
So it takes like
It's taking you along that ride. and
exactly.
it's,
So you're
figuring all
there for
those
the
things.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're there for like just for what the movie kind of is,
Yeah.
without having to be, I guess, critical.
And the
about it.
payoff feels better that way.
Right,
It
yeah.
feels good. You're like, wow, that makes sense. It's good. Okay. You're like it feels good when you finally see the payoff because it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever. It's subversion. People love subversion. Like
Mhm.
it kind of subverts, but more than subversion, it's more clever in the way
Yeah.
that it gives you all these hints in the beginning
Mhm.
that if you knew the ending, you would be like, I get it,
right.
Oh, I should have seen that sooner, right? There are these moments like that, but because you don't know it in the beginning,
Mhm.
you kind of wonder why these things are happening in such a way.
Right.
But when you get to that payoff, you're like,
Aha.
aha, yeah,
Okay, I can forgive it.
and
now.
that makes a good
Yeah.
payoff. I feel like.
Yeah, I particularly like the ending too. I thought that was, like I said, clever and really most of all fun.
Mm.
I just love the idea of the dad having to bite zombies. to
Yeah,
kill him. Like, it's
exactly.
the opposite of the zombie.
Exactly.
I like because initially I just thought, oh, he has the cure, just random like
Immunity,
immunity. Yeah, like 3 shots or whatever.
Or you
But
just
it's
get
like
vaccines now.
Vaccines.
Yeah.
But they have a bus of him like trying.
He
to eat
travels
everybody.
around Korea, letting zombies bite him.
and then they have to
Oh
line
no,
up.
he
the-
has to
yeah.
bite the zombies. Yeah.
And then the daughter and the Jombi are like lining
Security,
up these
yeah.
zombies. It's just like stand up straight. I told you to stand up. It's
Yeah.
just hilarious. Like it's
It's great.
It's
I love
great.
the ending too.
Yeah, it's fresh. Like it
Yeah.
really is just fresh, you know, and clever. I mean, yeah, I really don't like. Besides what I said earlier, I don't have anything negative to point about the movie.
Mm.
The random like mother-in-law, the random childbirth in that
Oh,
scene.
in the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the weird. I would if there's one negative, that would be mine. Like, how the heck did she just like
it just happened so fast, right?
pop the baby out that fast with no help? Just pop it out just like that. I was quite surprised.
One and done.
She's a very strong woman for sure.
Well, the movie had a lot of movie moments to it. Like things happen very coincidentally for the sake of the story all
Right,
the time.
right,
like
right.
like that, like I said, the rave element that happened. You know,
I think that's for the comedy though. You know,
but also like for the story, like it distracted the zombies from him to go to the building for the keys. There are so many coincidences, and then but it kind of
the
worked.
biggest
Like,
coincidence would be, why is that zombie up on the roof all of a sudden?
right?
That would be the biggest coincidence because that starts the rave. Right?
Yeah, and he's like playing with
He's
the
like,
cords or
"Whoa."
whatever.
Electric box? Let me touch it. Like, what? Out of nowhere.
Let me touch it. Yeah, just like even from the very beginning when the key is driving and he hits the nail and then the people swerve off and then like he comes
Well,
out.
no, I think that was planned by him.
That was planned.
Yeah.
But
I think
at
he
first,
did that on
but
purpose.
but you didn't really know till you got to that point.
Yeah,
and I was like,
you
oh
didn't-
yeah,
yeah.
of course there's gonna be like whatever.
But I think he's like
It's
trying to
clever.
scam them. That's what.
No,
That's,
not trying. He did scam
well,
them.
yeah.
Come on, a flat tire for $1,400.
Yeah.
Like let's be real. Let's pause for a second. Yeah. What I have? Okay, I do have a question though. So, they capture like zombie, right?
Yeah.
And then one, I want to say before I get to the question, the cabbage bit is like the greatest bit ever. It's so
cabbage.
great.
With
Like, again, like subverting, like with the ketchup, which is disgusting as hell, but again, subverting like zombies eats meat,
Yeah.
and he's like a vegetarian.
He's a vegetarian, bro.
Because like a cabbage looks like a brain. It's hilarious.
And put some blood on it.
Yeah. It's,
Perfect.
It's just clever.
Yeah.
But poor actor. Can you imagine that guy?
Having to bite and eat all that.
Yo. Cabbage is like singular for Koreans, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they killed cabbage for him? Like,
Man.
I can never eat another cabbage in my life after that movie. But he's like, so he's captured into the shed. And then the daughter, I have the names. I don't know why I'm not looking at them.
Hagar.
Yeah,
Hagar.
Hagar. So she has like the bunnies, and the one bunny dies.
Yeah.
But she still has the other one. Zombie keeps looking at the freaking bunny throughout the movie,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, but why? Like, what's the motive? Like the connection?
Maybe
or
he
significance
feels
there?
like he's this bunny. I don't know.
I don't
like
know.
that kind of like.
I think
Maybe
it
I'm
changes.
trapped.
Maybe I feel like it changes with
Mhm.
interpretation. Because
Yeah.
like the first time, I'm like, oh, he's gonna fuck that bunny up. Like
You gonna eat it?
you know, like he's gonna go after that thing.
Yeah.
But then the next time, like that's when they bring in the shed and they give him a home.
Yeah.
And he looks at the bunny, like not enviously, but why? Like I
Now
couldn't
I'm
make-
part of the family.
right,
buddy.
right. You know, or like I'm gonna replace you, buddy. You know? But then it kind of goes away. There's nothing. I just didn't know why that was there. For I don't know, whatever. That and they made all that effort to open up the gas
Station
station
to explode.
for it to explode, but they didn't even have a single customer before them.
That's
They
true.
just like open it.
Well, I mean, if you count all the zombies as customers,
no. That
they
was-
had a great grand opening with the fireworks and all
Right.
that.
It was just pure sentiment.
Hmm.
It was just there for like just sentiment.
I think it was there for the spectacle.
That too. It was definitely there
The
for
fireworks. You definitely need fireworks.
Then he like that little explosion at the end when he blows up the thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That didn't make sense. Where did he get the
What?
lighter?
Oh,
Out of nowhere,
Where did
he got the lighter.
Yeah.
He's just like pop. I'm like, where'd you get the lighter?
We'll give it to him. Just do that. Yeah, that was kind of random. I think my favorite moment was I do have a couple of favorite shots, but so the youngest brother, so Mingu, tries to steal Jombi again, like
Yeah,
the second
yeah.
time, but that's when like, so the sister like stops him in front of the truck, and then there's that shot of the oldest brother like smoking, and he's like, this family's a mess, and then it's like in the background you can see everybody fighting.
Yeah.
My favorite moment is like after that, when you still see Mingul and the sister-in-law still like chasing each other, and he's making up an excuse like, all I wanted was for the family to like have this moment, and all I wanted was for us to feel proud and open up this gas station.
Yeah.
And then she's chasing with the broom, and she's like, I've heard that excuse like yesterday. And then she like goes around and like literally hits him with the broom, and then he like laughs. He's like, ah, ah. It was like unscripted. Like you can tell he just like giggled in that moment. It's hilarious.
Yeah. There's a lot of great moments, I think, in this film.
Yeah. Do you have a particular?
I love the police station bit
Which one?
when he
The
gets
first time.
caught
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
zombie in the back of the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and
With his friend.
and then they go into the police station, and then the father comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, where's my son? Where's my son?" And then the younger son's like, "Oh, I'm right here." But then the
He
father's
goes to
like, "No, how dare you like take zombie away from
Right.
me? You know, this is a private family matter. Like,
Right to the
the police shouldn't like be involved in this." Like, and but I love that part.
Or like that's when it was real that he has no teeth.
Yeah.
When
Oh
he, like,
yeah, he
opens
has
up
no
the tape.
teeth. I love that part
He's like,
too.
don't open up the tape. And he's like, whoa, did you do this?
Yeah.
He's like, you sadistic bastard.
And there's so many funny little bits like that just, they're so crazy, but like
Yeah.
it's just great. And then like the old guy, old grandpa comes
Yeah.
with the teeth,
He's like,
and he
"I'll
just
do it."
replaces it.
Right. Oh my god, man.
And then for his birthday, I don't know if it's birthday or like some, I think it's the opening party that they have.
Mm.
He gives him a new set of teeth
Oh yeah,
as
yeah.
a present.
Yeah, when they gave him the home. And
Yeah, the
everything.
home. Yeah.
He's like, what got me was like after that confrontation, and then they chain him back up in the shed, and then Hegu gives him the cabbage with the ketchup, because he's not eating it. And
Yeah.
then she's like, "Are you not hungry?" And spreads the ketchup, and all you hear is like, it's hilarious. Yeah, there's a lot of just little moments
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah, this film really is filled with like small things that kind of make you
Yeah, it's just
laugh.
it really adds like it's the details, like that's what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's really intentional and like these intentional details, and they really kind of are the what's the word I'm looking for? Just like the decoration of like the meal, you know?
Yeah, it makes it believable. I feel like the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
things like the family dynamic or like the town dynamic and all of that just feels very alive,
Yeah, that's for sure. And like the fact that like the town triples in population by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like all these people just come out of nowhere from like a desolate wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It's got a lot of character to itself.
Right.
Any additional details? I really like the shot with when they first get the idea, and then they use like the father's like in his card playing friends, and then they all want in on the thing.
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah, just stick your arm in this hole. And he's like, what, like this? And then they convince Jombi to like bite
Bite
the
him.
arm, and it's like this too wide shot of like tug of war.
Oh, yeah.
I really love that shot when it's just like, and then you see him smiling on the floor, the zombie, after he like eats it.
I also like how their way of like spreading the ketchup gets even more like complicated
Yeah.
better.
Like swirl.
In the beginning, he's like doing it by hand, but he gets tired, so he starts using the
Yeah.
machine with his foot.
the pedal.
Yeah.
And the way they do the business is like more and more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like stamp people's arms.
Oh, yeah.
Like what? Yeah. I don't know. I really don't have much to add.
Yeah, I think this film it covers a lot of bases.
It does.
Like it even has like a little bit of like a moral of the story kind of thing where you like, you know, watch what you like, you know, wish for kind of thing.
Sure.
Where it's like, you know, you might want, you know, eternal youth or whatever, but
Everything comes with a price.
yeah, everything comes with a price kind of thing.
Right.
There's like a little bit of that too.
You can say, because I was reading an interview and there's a bit of like kind of like commentary on like gender and like women and men in there. Like you notice like pretty much most of the zombies are the men. Like none of the women really turn zombies, especially in the wedding scene.
Yeah.
And they divide the men on one side of the wedding and the women on the other, and all the men turn zombies first, and it's just the men attacking the women.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of like you were saying, it's a bit of a commentary as well, which is like men kind of as boys we kind of rely on our mothers for help and things like that, and then like as we get older we rely on our wives, and we kind of go back to them for help and like emotional security and things like that. And he's like, he just finds that women are the more stronger character, you know?
Well, if you look at just how the girls are in the film too, like
they're very
the sister-in-law and the sister.
Yeah.
They're all very strong characters in themselves too.
I mean, the brothers are like afraid of, like even the father was afraid of both of them. You know? Whenever they come into a scene, they really kind of take over that scene. Even
when her relationship with Zombie.
Yeah.
Where like she's always the one like leading him because he knows nothing, he's dumb.
Right.
So she's like, oh, I'll take care of you, you know.
Yeah.
Figure this out. I'll bring you to a cabbage patch. Just
quite literally, like she really does, and like even transforms him into that more regular
human
person.
being. Like a regular human being.
Yeah, and I mean that's a very interesting and fresh take too. It's
well, what does it mean if the father is the cure for all of this?
Right.
Only the men can figure out the problem. Be the solution to the problem.
You're gonna make this podcast very, very controversial, and I don't appreciate that. Lee.
What do you mean?
I don't want to lose the woman.
It just means we gotta fix our own problems.
Okay, you're
we gotta fix our own crap.
Men ain't shit.
We gotta bite ourselves. That's the moral of the story.
We gotta fix it ourselves.
Yes.
We can't rely on others. Oh man. But yeah, and even just like obviously family as well. That's a very huge kind of thing. This would have worked perfectly within the family series, I think.
Even the Peninsula too, right?
You brought that up, I feel, last podcast. And
I know, I did.
And I don't agree still.
Peninsula would work. No. This would work.
This is more defined in family compared to...
It literally has family in the title, so...
Exactly. Does Peninsula have family in the title? No.
Peninsula is Korea. Korea's family.
I can't believe... I don't know if that's like racist or not.
Why is that racist?
I don't know.
We are family, bro.
Oh, not me.
I said we.
Whatever, dude.
Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, this movie really has a little bit of everything in there. I guess we can kind of talk about the series as a whole. Oh my god, we're done. It's like a weight has been lifted. I'm not kidding.
You mean we have another burden now?
Exactly, just to replace that. Is this your favorite? This is your favorite, right?
This is my favorite, by far.
Yeah. And number 2?
One Cut.
3.
And then Peninsula. And then
that movie was that bad. Yeah.
And then the movie that shall not be named.
We should have like an exile list of like
not recommend.
Strongly forget.
This one I would definitely recommend somebody to watch.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if they like zombie movies. I think this would be a great movie just because it's familiar and yet it has fresh takes on different things.
100%.
Which I think, zombie watchers would enjoy a lot.
I think it's what we need. Like I said, something that's familiar yet independent.
I think that makes a good film because, every film to a certain extent has been done before. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, every trope, every theme, every, style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what you do with that and it's how you put a fresh new take on it. And this definitely did that.
Yeah.
100%. You
I
know?
guess I was like, that's where the term redefining genre kind of comes from. I think that's what
Yeah.
the definition is.
And it feels very polished, like we talked about in
Yeah.
the very beginning. Like just the film itself, like from beginning to end, there were just every base was covered, every thought, every question that you might have had while you're watching this movie. By the end of the movie, you felt like you got your money's worth. Like it really feels like this is a great ending to the movie with the questions that it posed in the beginning.
Yeah.
To where it goes at the end, it just feels like a complete film, complete story.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah. It does feel like a really good finished package.
Yeah.
In that sense, like story's important. But I guess also technically speaking, like this movie's really great too. Like the actors in it, they're all big name, but they're so perfect in their roles, and like I guess the simplicity of the movie in a sense of there's not a lot of locations is very set in like I said before, the fact that it's set in a rural like middle of nowhere town is also such a fresh take on setting that for a zombie movie.
Yeah.
You never would have thought, in the boonies. And I mean, they do flex around. Like there's a lot of things that I feel like are odd to find in the boonies. Like there's an internet cafe, and then there's
but it's Korea.
I guess
It's
but,
Korea.
Like,
they have like know.
Like I said, like it's just there's a lot of movie moments of like if they need something, it's there. Like the internet cafe,
Right.
Boom, location. Like hospital, like ambulance, boom, there. Policeman, boom, there. Like it just kind of happens. But it feels like very true to itself, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So, but it's really well done. Like shots are great, the color's nice. Everything just feels great about it. It just feels like a polished film. It feels like a perfect like theatrical kind of Hollywood film.
Yeah.
And for like somebody's debut, like that's kind of impressive. But he was an editor beforehand, so it makes sense.
And I think maybe that's why the pacing felt good.
Because
he kind of knows, how to
right. Yeah.
pace the movie.
It's his job after all.
Definitely felt.
This is definitely. I think overall this is my favorite out of the four, and second is definitely One Cut. I think maybe in terms of like originality, I would vote more for One Cut, just because like that's kind of what the movie was entirely.
Yeah.
But as far as like an overall pleasant experience for a zombie film, this was the best one.
Yeah. It felt like, like when you're thinking about kind of like the typical zombie movie,
Right.
with the zombie movie budget, I feel like this one kind of is perfect fit for that.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like One Cut was a little more like a really like low budget
For sure.
film, and it did great,
Yeah.
for that. But I feel like as a little bit higher production value movie, this one is
Right.
like it's better than Peninsula, and Peninsula will probably spend so much money on that
I know.
compared to this movie.
Which is funny because it's like if you think about it in that sense, the perfect budget for a zombie film, like Peninsula should have been that movie,
Yeah.
but it was just sloppy, and it's just the story and everything how it was made.
The story was weak.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of just loose ends.
Right.
Didn't feel complete.
And I just didn't have the attachment to it, compared to this movie. So that's kind of where it dropped the ball. So budget means nothing if you don't have a good story.
Exactly. That's why I'm praising this film so much. It's maybe also because we just watched Peninsula,
Maybe.
and just comparing the stories and comparing just how like detailed this story is, and like how like complete it feels compared to Peninsula's story.
Right.
I think maybe that's why like I feel more better about this movie.
It's like a fresh
It feels
clean palette.
good when you know that a movie has a story that it feels like they really really thought about it. Like they really thought it through, and like every moment, every little detail wasn't like there by mistake.
Right.
And you feel like this movie, like there's no way that they just did it by accident. They wrote it in by accident. There's nothing like that.
Yeah. Everything was very specific.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it a good movie. You know? Good story.
Put your love and care into your scripts, people,
Yeah.
and everything else. Love and care. TLC.
That's why it takes so long for
That's why it took 10 years. Not including probably like shooting. Well, I hear they shot it in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, I bet because
Yeah.
if they took 10 years to write it, then they probably know it inside out.
Yeah, they were like, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's wrap that up. We done?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very satisfied with this banger,
Banger.
of a zombie movie at the end.
Made it a high note.
It
We
it
ended on-
redeemed the series, I feel like. Because the whole time I kind of felt like,
This was a waste. We made a mistake. We made a big mistake.
but this one I feel like was definitely the highlight. It was good. We put this last.
Yeah.
Because we're going to put Peninsula last. And we're like, nah, let's just
Thank God. Yeah, I mean, it was a tough like back to back because then we had the Chinese one first, which was like, wow, what?
It was good. The first one and the last one was good. So
Yeah,
it feels
exactly.
like this whole series was,
You gotta go in good and be like, what have we done to come out like?
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't a completely disaster. Like,
yeah.
whew, thank God. So we can be hopeful for the next series. What are we doing?
It has something to do with good music that you can listen to forever.
Amen. Amen. Yes. I should probably add that on my Spotify, actually.
We should do that series, like a series with like great soundtrack.
Great soundtracks.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
This,
But
this,
then like we would have to kind of watch the movie beforehand though.
right.
Yeah,
That's
right,
true.
we couldn't-
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know until you watch the movie.
Well, that's why it would be a series of the movies that we already know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
That
wouldn't
makes
be
sense.
any new movies.
I've already got a few if that's the case.
Anyways,
Anyway, yes. So also has to do with animation,
yes.
and some people might be thinking Disney, but please look at the title of our podcast and read the description.
It's on par with Disney, I feel like, in
For sure.
Asia.
Yeah.
It would be the Disney of
The Disney of Asia.
yeah.
I mean, technically, they were distributing, like Disney was distributing their movies for a
Oh.
time,
Okay.
but they are not. It's Studio Ghibli, guys. We're done teasing. We're done.
You're done.
I'm done teasing. Yes, and we're gonna stick on this 4 train. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
on doing 4. We think it's a comfortable fit. And there's a lot of Ghibli movies you're thinking, and they're all like, for the most part, amazing. This was and try to figure out what we would do,
Yeah.
and
We have a bias, I guess, and we like all
Ex-
the movies.
yeah.
so-
And we had like a different bias because like
Right,
you had
right.
seen the newer ones, and well, I'd seen like almost all of them, but I
Mm.
had preferred the
Older one.
I think the more classical
Yeah.
older ones. But I guess I'm just gonna give in
We're gonna do the
the
newer
newer
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna stick to pretty much the last 4, which I just
The
made,
latest 4 that came out.
which I made a mistake of not writing them down into my notes. So bear with me. But the last one was that the wind rises. I know that. How's Moving Castle, Wind Rises. These are not in order, particular order. I'm just How's Moving Castle, Wind
Ponyo.
Rises. We picked Ponyo?
Isn't that
That would be before Wind Rises, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's the 4. It's part of the 4.
And then Spirited Away, did we have as well?
Yeah, I think that's the last.
That's
the oldest one.
The oldest. of the
Spirited
new.
Away, Ponyo. Oh, Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, Ponyo, and then
Right.
the Wind Rise.
Technically, there's some in between those.
Oh,
Actually.
there is.
Like Tales of Ursula came out in 2006.
Is it like a?
But I don't know if that's a Hayao Miyazaki film per se. Like specifically, we're doing Hayao Miyazaki films because Studio Ghibli is a company.
Yeah.
But we're doing like mainly like the really the more popular ones. So, and I think people would get mad at us to do Ponyo because it's not that great. I think of the list, but We don't care.
We'll watch it and we'll decide.
I watched it once, like back when it did come out.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember.
Mm.
Like, I just remember like glimpses, but I don't really remember enough to really have an opinion, I guess, or a fair opinion anyway. So yeah, so those would be the 4. Do you want to do it like Spirited Away, then Up?
Yeah, let's do that.
Gotcha. So Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, then The Wind Rises.
Yes.
Will be that order of the list.
So
then.
we're now on the Ghibli train.
Yeah, boy, the hype train. Ghibli train. There should be no falters besides possibly Ponyo on this list. Yes, so that's what we will be doing. Watch that.
There should be a smooth sailing, right?
What do you mean?
Just in terms of movie quality.
Yes, that's what I said. Like,
Smooth sailing.
yeah, like Ponyo is probably the more
Yeah.
is like, you know, the wavering of the bunch, but everything else is like a banger, bro. Everything else. I think like what we're gonna talk about, I feel most of the series will be maybe emotionality, like what, like in terms of like not really genre, but like how you feel, because like Wind Rises is tonally different and
Yeah.
brings up much more different emotions compared to Spirited Away.
Well, I mean, I'll go into it with a different kind of
Sure.
outlook, because you know when I watch movies, especially when I was younger, I usually watch it without really thinking about it
Right.
too much.
Mhm.
But now I'll think about it and watch it, so maybe I'll find something to nitpick about.
Right. I think like too though, I think Hayao Miyazaki films are special in the sense that, especially for like our generation, in mine, that we kind of grew up on these movies in a sense,
Yeah.
and that when these movies came out, we were fairly younger. And as we kind of grow older and see these movies, just like the mystical elements and like just how variety in like the animation and like the tones of the
Yeah.
movie really changes as you grow older. You know, like I remember as a kid really just being transported into these films
Yeah.
and like I said, kind of going into it without thinking, and just like the world like enveloped me, and I didn't really know like how to analyze it or like really how to feel about it, because it was just so different as an
Yeah,
animation.
it
like, it's crazy.
really just pours you over like some kind of crashing wave.
Right, like it's pure fantasy, like, and I think in the
Yeah.
literal sense of it.
Yeah.
But then seeing it like now with like understanding of like story and kind of like themes and all these things that comes with like writing and filmmaking,
Yeah.
like that will have a significant change of like how I perceive the film,
Yeah.
rather than like I still like to be lost in that fantasy of it, but having an outlook at the movie
Right.
as well.
Yeah, the thing about these films though is like there's such a strong sense of nostalgia that comes
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah.
especially when I listen to the music.
Mm-hmm.
It like puts me in a different place,
Right.
which is why like there's a big bias that like starts to happen when I
Right.
like gets it when it puts me in a place where I was when I was younger or something like that. you know?
Right.
And so yeah, like trying to think about it more in a in a logical way might be a little bit harder than most, but
A little tough. But I think that's why most people would enjoy listening to the series.
right. I
because
mean,
I think a
it's
lot of people
great.
have shared that.
Yeah, just like you said, just the emotionality of it, just the impact of it, and the fantasy of it, and just like you said, transporting you into a different place. Like, there's no other movies that does it as well as these.
Yeah, like really give like Hayao Miyazaki is just independent of that quality compared to any other films. Like I said, it really just kind of changes a whole generation that
Right.
watches it and grew up on it.
It kind of like seeps you into a certain new world.
Right.
Where like it's funny because you don't even feel like you know the world so well, but you kind of feel like you know the world.
Right.
It's a weird thing where like
I feel like the characters in a way, like
I feel like the girl that goes into Narnia for the first time.
right.
Like I feel like that character that goes into a fantasy world and has
like-
no clue what's going on.
There's a talking lion,
But it's great.
Right,
Like, you
you're
know
like,
what I mean? But
I'm
it's
in it.
great.
Yeah.
You know?
There's an evil witch of like the winter, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's the beauty of these films. So we'll see and we'll talk about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
As we calm our hype down. So yeah, excited for it. And we'll do it. Thank you guys for listening. Deuces.
Bye.